We'll get started. So we'll start with some very, very gentle movement. And we'll start with the hands, just rubbing the thumbs against each of the pads of the fingers, one. And just seeing what you find there. How's the dexterity today? Are the fingers stiff or are they loose? Maybe you tap index, middle, ring, pinky. Maybe you challenge yourself and try to go fast, or maybe you're very deliberate and put some pressure between the thumb and the finger and go slowly one by one. But we're just coming into the feelings in the body, in the hands, in the fingertips. Maybe opening and closing the hands into open, wide palms and closed fists, and feeling the difference between expansion and contraction. Feeling open and big, and feeling closed off and tight. And maybe we rub the palms of the hands together and generate a bit of heat and a bit of friction. And then I'll invite you to put one hand on the heart and one hand on the belly. And if you haven't already and you'd like to close your eyes, now's a great time to do that. Just feeling what's happening in the body. Can you feel the heartbeat with the hand? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Can you feel the breath with the opposite hand on the belly? And maybe you can and maybe you can't. We're just asking the question. There's no right or wrong answer to it. But once we quiet down and pay attention, you probably will be able to eventually feel the rise of the chest on the inhale and the sinking of the chest on the exhale, even if it's subtle. And then work on inviting that breath down into the belly. Again, maybe it's just a tiny little movement, but truly asking the diaphragm to get involved so that we can fill the lungs. And working on slowing down the breath so that the breath expands, so that it's a nice, long, gentle inhale and a slow, easy, even longer exhale. Extending the exhale invites our parasympathetic nervous system to come into play so that we can be in this rest and digest stage. Often there's a lot going on. There's a lot of stimulus. There's a lot of external noise and people and events and stuff going on. So we're kind of vigilant. We're kind of on edge, or we're ready for anything. And here, when we turn on our parasympathetic, our rest and digest response, we can just relax. Maybe you can sink even deeper into your hips. Maybe you can let go of some tension in the shoulders or in the jaw or wherever your body is currently holding some tension. And I'm not saying it's going to be perfect. I'm saying you can invite the relaxation response. We can tiptoe into this repair and restore response. And the more we practice it, the more we let the belly rise on the inhale and sink on the exhale, the more we let the chatter die down in the back of the mind, and the more we open to this moment. In this moment, the more we can train our body and our brain to come to relaxation quicker, more readily, more confidently. I'll invite you to join me in a 4, 7, 8 breath, and you can either leave the hands where they are, or you can let them rest on the lap or on the seat beside you. And so this breath is an inhale for a count of 4. And then we hold the breath in at the top, feeling full, feeling proud. And it's a long, slow exhale for a count of 8. And some people love the counting because it helps their monkey mind focus on something. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And for other people that doesn't work, and that's fine. You can just be intuitive, inhaling for about 4. Holding at the top for give or take 7. And then this long, slow exhale, really expanding, luxuriating in breathing out all of the carbon dioxide, emptying the lungs, getting ready for the next breath in. And so we'll carry on like this for a few more rounds. I have a poem to share with you. And if at any point you lose track of the breath because you're focused on the poem, no worries, just come back to it. And if at any point you lose track of the poem because you're focused on the breath, no worries, I'll read it again at the end of our time together. There's no have to, and there's no expectation. We just see where we go. And so as we feels a little bit like we're inching towards autumn time, and I know it's not quite there. I know it's not quite there, but I do see that the nights are coming a little bit earlier. It's a little rainier. This is called Song for Autumn by Mary Oliver. In the deep fall, don't you imagine the leaves think how comfortable it will be to touch the earth instead of the nothingness of air and the endless freshets of wind? Don't you think the trees themselves, especially those with mossy, warm caves, begin to think of the birds that will come, 6 a dozen, to sleep inside their bodies? And don't you hear the goldenrod whispering, goodbye, the everlasting being crowned with the first tuffets of snow? The pond vanishes, and the white field over which the fox runs so quickly brings out its blue shadows. And the wind pumps its bellows, and at evening especially, the piled firewood shifts a little, longing to be on its way. Inhaling, holding the breath at the top, and then exhaling so gently, slowly, easily, until you're totally empty. And then maybe holding the breath out, seeing what that feels like in the body, waiting for that little bit of air hunger where the body's like, I must breathe, I must breathe, I must breathe, and saying, wait 1 second, and then gently, slowly letting the breath return to normal. Just easy in and out through the nose. Easy, whatever tempo feels right, however deep or shallow feels right in your body. And then give yourself a little body scan again and see, is there anywhere where I have developed tightness that I could allow? Is there anywhere where stress has crept in where I could say, shh, relax, it's okay. We don't have to keep vigil. We don't have to be on high alert. And then if there are thoughts, which there almost always are at some point, can we be extra compassionate? Because like the seasons, the thoughts come and go. And while they may seem very pressing, we can simply say, thank you so much. I will think about you later. Thank you for showing up, and let them pass on their way. So our body goes in cycles. The moon comes in cycles. The seasons come in cycles. Even the rhythm of the week or the rhythm of the day. And we don't always have a lot of say in how long these cycles are, what's expected of us, but we can show up knowing, a new day, a new week, a new moon. I can sense the change of seasons, the ever evolving time that marches on. And for some people, that's really scary, and it feels like a threat to always be thinking, oh, I'm losing time, or the time is flying by, or the years are tumbling on. But we can also flip that script and say, oh, what a lovely thing to be able to start a new cycle, to begin again, to always have these little pieces of brand new. So I'll invite you to come back to the belly. Every breath is a cycle, and it begins with the inhale, letting the belly rise. And then there's a peak and a tiny little gap, and then that inhale turns into an exhale. And it comes all the way back down, and then there's a little gap before the cycle starts anew with an inhale, turning into the exhale. And the exhale, turning into the inhale, in this infinite loop that we get to begin again and experience over and over and over. And what a gift that is. I'm gonna come back to this poem. So just let the breath be continuous. And if you lose the breath because you're paying attention to the words, no worries, come back to it. And if you lose the words because you're paying attention to the breath, that's okay too. Let whatever unfolds, unfold. This is Song for Autumn by Mary Oliver. In the deep fall, don't you imagine the leaves think how comfortable it will be to touch the earth instead of the nothingness of air and the endless freshets of wind? And don't you think the trees themselves, especially those with mossy, warm caves, begin to think of all the birds that will come, 6, a dozen, to sleep inside their bodies? And don't you hear the goldenrod whispering goodbye, the everlasting being crowned with the first tuffets of snow? The pond vanishes, and the white field over which the fox runs so quickly brings out its blue shadows, and the wind pumps its bellows, and at evening especially, the piled firewood shifts a little, longing to be on its way. And this is the dichotomy of knowing things are coming, preparing for the future, while also relishing in the present moment. These things will always be at opposite ends, and our job is to notice when the pendulum swings too far in one way or too far in the other way. Coming back to the breath, coming back to the body, as if you are the tree, growing roots, growing branches. The leaves of the summer are green and lovely, and they are thinking about what it will be like to touch the ground. And visualize the birds that will come to roost in your body in the coming months. What are those birds to you? Are they ideas, projects, things that have been scattered that need to be gathered? Maybe there are people that you haven't been in close touch with that you want to re-engage. And then building this lovely, cozy fire, because we all have a fire in our belly, and sometimes we pay attention to it, and sometimes we ignore it. But when we tune in and we allow the things that warm us to shine through, we are often showing up better in this world, a better version of ourselves, a more authentic, a more aligned, coherent version of ourselves. What does this fire look like for you? Is it a little campfire? Is it a big bonfire? What is the smell of the burning wood, the embers, the smoke? What is the sound of the crackling, the popping? How does it feel? Is it a little bit warm? Is it way too hot? Where do you need to stand to be just the exact right temperature? Is there a taste associated with your fire? Can you experience all of these senses at once? A whole body experience. The colors, the shapes, the dancing flames, the crackles and pops, the heat, the smell and the taste. And remember that fire is always burning in your belly, and we get to tune in by slowing down. I'll invite you to do a countdown of 10 breaths at your own leisure, at your own pace. Inhaling and exhaling 10. And just feeling your roots grow, feeling rooted. Inhaling and exhaling 9. And so on. And if you get to 1 early, that's fine, start again. And if you never get to 1, it's not a big deal. It's about the process versus the outcome. Wherever you are, take your time. Bring the breathing back to whatever feels natural, whatever's on the back burner. We'll bring the attention back to the hands. First, how do they feel? The thumbs, the index fingers, middle fingers, ring fingers, and the pinky fingers. And maybe you come back to this idea of pushing the thumbs against each finger pad and just seeing how that feels. The hands are the same, if they feel different. Maybe you press, or maybe you challenge your dexterity, moving fast between. Maybe you open the hands really wide and squeeze the fists together. Or maybe you interlock the fingers to move the wrists. Maybe you gently bring some movement into the rest of the body, into the shoulders or the neck. Just stretching, pressing the feet down, or maybe stretching the legs, whatever feels good to you. Just coming back into the body after a period of sitting quite still. And then if you like, you can again rub the palms together to generate that friction, that heat, that fire. And then placing the warm palms over the eye sockets, that you can blink the eyes open and let the light come in slowly, gently, giving yourself a little massage in the temples, on the forehead, whatever feels good, running your hands through the hair maybe as you come back into the rest of the day, come back into this moment and this moment and the next. Thanks for practicing with me today.